Welcome to your online coffee break, where we discuss bite-sized topics that inspire, educate, and entertain. Here's your host, a software innovator, award-winning marketer, and astronomy and space buff, Chuck Fields.
Hello, thanks for joining me today for your online coffee break. Today, we're having a beach party. To help us celebrate, I'd like to invite my special guest, Bernie Bomberg. Bernie plays rhythm guitar and keyboards for the Surf Dawgs, a rock instrumental band. Despite the word surf in the band's name, they're from Minneapolis, Minnesota. The band has been performing in the upper Midwest area since 2001 and recently released their 8th album, Beach Party. Bernie, who was inducted into the Mid-America Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2009 with a Lifetime Achievement Award, joins us today to talk about the band's incredible music journey.
Online coffee break.
Bernie, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Hey, Chuck, thank you for having me on.
Oh, it is quite a pleasure and an honor. Now, Bernie, I understand that you were classically trained on the piano and that you taught yourself to play rhythm guitar when you were quite young. Can you tell us a little bit more about your musical background and where your passion for music came along?
Sure, that's an easy one. I wasn't really classically trained, but I was formally trained on the piano.
Okay.
I took lessons like a lot of kids did from age 12 to about 14 or 15, and that was that. A friend of mine taught me my first 4 guitar chords when I was, again, 13 or 14, maybe 15. And I learned to play on a tenor guitar, which is just the top 4 strings. And we learned that, and before you know it, we're in a folk singing group back in 63, 64. And the next thing you know, somebody asked me to play in a rock and roll band, and they needed a keyboard player. And they had an organ. They didn't have a piano. So I figured it's the same thing. So I started playing the organ in a rock and roll band, and occasionally they needed some extra guitar parts, so I would start doing that.
Here's Pipeline by the Surf Dawgs.
My present lead guitar player, Zippy Kaplan, who's in pretty much every band I've ever been in, he and I started playing together when we were 15.
Wow.
So we've been playing on and off for more years than I care to, half a century or more together for the most part. I did take a little bit of time off to open a dental practice and raise 4 kids.
Wow.
A little bit of time, like approximately 30 years
My gosh.
off. And then I was asked to get back into the business to do a project that Zippy and I worked on for 2.5 years. It was a passion of his, and he asked me to partake in it. That was called Monsters and Heroes, and we took themes from TV shows and movies from the 30s, 40s, 50s, even the 60s, which were all orchestrations, and convert them into rock and roll orchestration,
Wow.
which is basically guitars, bass, drum, and some keyboard. And we did that, and it took us 2.5 years to do it, about 20 hours a week for that amount of time. And it was extremely difficult because all of this music is, like I say, orchestrated, so you've got 80 or 90 pieces for the London Philharmonic,
Wow.
and you've got to pick out 6 or 8 parts that you're going to put to rock and roll. And at the end of that, 3 weeks went by, and then we were bored because we'd had this 20-hour-a-week job putting this album together, this project. And we went to a concert, and there were some radio people there that we knew. And I asked the DJ, I said, what would you think about if we started a surf-style instrumental rock and roll band in the Twin Cities? He said, Bernie, I think we are ready for that. I would support you every step of the way if you did it. So we put together the Surf Dawgs, DAWGS, of course.
Of course. Here's Beyond the Sea by the Surf Dawgs.
Album was called Driving Guitars. We've had 8 studio albums, full-length studio albums to this point. And that was basically stuff that we had been playing live on stage and that we got good reception to, and we just started recording that. That was our first album. Then they got more and more sophisticated. About 4 albums in, Bob Spalding of the Ventures got wind of one of our albums and really liked it, and it called up and started communicating with us and asking us questions. How do we pick the songs that we choose to record, and asking questions about this and that. And then the next album, he asked if he could play on it. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So we had the Ventures lead guitar player play on a half a dozen songs on our next album. And then the album after that, he played on the whole album. It was called, the name of the album was Moontide with Bob Spalding. So he played on every track. And then the next thing you know, we are all writing songs together, and he gave us some songs that he basically wrote for us.
Here's A Walk in the Rain by the Surf Dawgs, written by Bob Spalding of the Ventures. A Walk in the Rain, yeah.
Yes, A Walk in the Rain, and I really liked that song. I said, Bob, why don't you have the Ventures record this? He said, they don't want it. You can have it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What the heck? So he always tells me, Bernie, you can take any of my songs, you can change them however you want, you can alter them, and I do. I make whatever changes I think would make it better for the Surf Dawgs. It reminded me of, this will date me now, but Opie and Andy walking down the dirt road with their fishing poles over their shoulders.
I love that.
It's that type of a catchy song. And every time we were working with it in the studio, I started just snapping my fingers to it. I couldn't help it. And then I said, gosh darn, I'm going to put these finger snaps on the song. And after the first bridge, you'll hear stereo finger snaps the rest of the song, courtesy of Bernie Bomberg.
But here we are 8 albums later. You and several other Surf Dawg members have received some amazing awards. I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about those.
You've done some research that you're in there, Chuck.
That's what I do.
I'm proud to say we know you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cadillac Sally West has been our drummer from the beginning.
Great.
She grew up on this type of music, and she loves it.
Nice.
She is a member of the Upper Midwest Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Zippy, my lead guitar player, is a member of the same Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Nice.
I myself was inducted 7, 8, 9 years ago as a Lifetime Achievement Award, a member of the Upper Midwest Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Here's Hello, Mary Lou by the Surf Dawgs. I'm just so impressed because those Lifetime Achievement Awards are just amazing, and your music is just so evident of that. And now I guess my question is this: when you're making an album, how do you guys come up with a theme or the songs for the album?
Yeah, Bob from the Ventures asked us the same thing. We constantly have an ongoing list of well over 200 songs that we really like and would like to record someday, or at least look at it. Not all of the songs work out.
Sir, what is your biggest challenge when creating an album? And I guess, trying to make a song work. But are there other challenges that face you, and when you're coming up with these ideas and the songs?
Well, there's always challenges. Some of the songs are really easy. If I segue into our new album, the Surf Dawgs Beach Party. This was the record, our Midwest record company, KTEL Records, asked for this. This basically takes us all the way back to our roots. Most of these songs are songs that we played live on stage in 1965 or so. California Sun, Out of Limits, Penetration, Pipeline, Cruel Sea, Lonely Surfer, Surf Rider, Telstar, Miserloo, Wipeout. I mean, it's back to the basics. So a lot of that type of stuff we could play in our sleep, and it was relatively easy to do.
Here's Out of Limits from the Surf Dawgs Beach Party album. Well, I tell you, the album Beach Party is amazing, and I was telling you before, I especially love listening to it on these cold winter days lately.
They are good songs, and I'm very pleased with how the album came out. You're right, in the dead of winter, that's the best time to call forth these beach-type party songs.
That's right.
The cover of the album is from, I think, a 1963 beach party movie poster, and on the back we've got this gorgeous tropical white sand beach scene with palm trees.
From the Surf Dawgs Beach Party album, here's The Lonely Surfer.
The story there is we had the entire album done as far as all the drum tracks, and we finished that up on the day before Sally essentially retired and moved to Florida.
Oh, wow.
And we had to bring in another drummer. We brought in are you ready for this?
Yes.
17-year-old drummer who had to take a Saturday off of recording for junior prom.
That's great.
The kid is a musical genius. He plays drums at a highly professional level. He plays organ for his father's band, which is a national band. He plays bass. He plays guitar. He has like 30 vintage guitars. The kid's 17 years old. He just turned 18. Turns out he can sing pretty good, too. We have him singing on the first and last songs of this album, even though we're technically an instrumental band. So he's singing California Sun in the last song, which is not from 1965. It's from 1983. It's called When I Go to the Beach, which I heard, and I said, gosh darn it, we've got to record that. I love the chord progressions on this song, and it absolutely goes with the theme of the album. So we did. And that's pretty much the story of the Beach Party album.
That is fantastic. Now, when you guys perform, I hear that you're best known for your closing number. You have a great rock version of the William Tell Overture. How did that come about?
We do indeed. I taught that song to Zippy in my mother's basement when we were 15, one note at a time. And we're very, very proud of that. The one we've been playing for decades on stage and that we had recorded earlier, we call that the kiddie style, the children's style version of the song. Now we did the grown-up version of the song. It's true to Rossini, and we're very happy with the job we did on that song. Thank you for bringing that up, Chuck.
Oh, my pleasure, Bernie. Now, so you just came out with Beach Party literally just a couple months ago. What's coming up for you in 2019? What's coming up for you in the band?
Well, I play with technically three bands.
Wow. Okay.
So we have things. We'll have some live gigs going on with two of the bands for sure. The third, I'm not sure if that's going to come out live yet or not. That's a separate project. But I play with The Litter also, which was Zippy's band from the middle to late 60s into the early 70s.
Yeah.
Had a big cult following. That band is still alive and well. And in fact, we opened a show for Steppenwolf when they were out on their 50th anniversary tour. We got a call to play at a casino in out in Wisconsin someplace. We were the first show ever on a brand new amphitheater outdoor stage that they had built, and it was pretty cool. And I got to tell you, John Kay from Steppenwolf sounds exactly the same today as he did on the records. Born to Be Wild, Magic Carpet Ride. They put on a heck of a show. They have a whole semi-load full of equipment to load and unload. It was impressive to see, and it was a lot of fun and an honor to open for them. That was with The Litter, not with the Surf Dawgs.
Wow. I think that's impressive, Bernie. Well, I tell you guys are just a great band. You have some great music. I just want to congratulate you on your incredible career, and I just really appreciate you, Bernie, taking time to join us today. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks again, Chuck, for having me on. I appreciate it.
Online coffee break.
Wow, I really enjoyed my conversation with Bernie today, and I'm loving the music by the Surf Dawgs. If you'd like to find out more about them, just go to their website, thesurfdawgs.com. That's dogs, D-A-W-G-S. Anyway, I want to thank Bernie for joining us today. I want to thank you for joining us as well. If you'd like to comment on today's topic, just go to our website, onlinecoffeebreak.com, or give us a call at 317-862-4700. We'd also love it if you follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Online Coffee Break. And we'd appreciate it if you'd share this episode with your friends or rate us on your favorite podcast application. Thank you so much for joining us today. See you next time. God bless.